Have you ever stopped to wonder why, as the years pile on, you don't find yourself knocking on friends' doors like you used to? I used to be the fella who'd swing by every neighbor's porch, coffee in hand, ready for a chat. But something changes, doesn't it? It's not that you love people less, it's that life starts whispering a different tune. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on 6 heartfelt reasons why I've stopped visiting folks as much. These aren't about shutting the world out. They're about opening your heart to what truly matters. If you've ever felt a tug of guilt for staying home more, stick with me. This might just bring you peace and a smile. As I sit here in my favorite armchair, the one that's molded to me after all these years, I've been thinking about how life shifts as we grow older. Once upon a time, I was at every barbecue, every card game, every doorstep with a story to share. But lately, I've noticed I'm choosier about where I go and who I see. And you know what? That's okay. This isn't about turning into a hermit or forgetting the folks we care about. It's about understanding why our hearts and priorities change, and why that's a beautiful thing. So let's walk through these 6 reasons together. They might just help you see your own choices in a new light. Grab a cup of tea, get cozy, and let's dive in. 1. Saving my energy for the folks who light up. My soul, you ever notice how, as the years stack up, your energy feels like a bucket with a tiny hole? When I was a young man, I had stamina to spare. I'd hop in my old pickup, rattle across town, and spend hours jawing with anyone who'd listen. Friends, neighbors, even the fella at the gas station. But these days, I've learned that energy is precious, like the last sip of coffee in your favorite mug. I've stopped spreading it thin and started saving it for the folks who truly light up my soul. Let me paint you a picture. Back in my 40s, I was at every fish fry, every church picnic, every poker game. I thought that's what made me a good friend, showing up, always saying yes. But I'd drag myself home, bone-tired, my heart heavy from small talk that didn't mean much. Have you ever left a gathering feeling emptier than when you arrived? That's when I started asking myself, who really fills my cup? Who makes me laugh so hard my sides ache, or listens when I need to spill my worries? Those are the ones I save my energy for now. Take my old buddy Charlie. We used to meet up every week, but truth be told, his visits wore me out. He'd gripe about the weather, his job, his aches and pains. I'd nod along, but I'd leave feeling like I'd carried his burdens home. Then, one Sunday, I skipped Charlie's and went to my daughter's instead. We sat on her porch, watching my grandkids chase fireflies, swapping stories about the old days. That evening, my heart was full, my energy restored. That's when it hit me. I don't have to be everywhere. I can choose connections that recharge me, not drain me. This isn't about turning your back on folks. It's about being honest with yourself. As we get older, we realize our time and energy aren't endless. Why spend it on visits that feel like a chore? I've learned to say no to invitations that don't spark joy, and it's freed me to say yes to the ones that do. Like last month, when I drove an hour to see my old friend Mabel. We reminisced about our school days, laughed till we cried, and shared a silence that felt like home. That's worth every ounce of energy I've got. So here's my question. Who are the people who make your heart sing? Maybe it's your kids, your oldest pal, or that neighbor who always knows when you need a chat. Save your energy for them. You're not being selfish, you're being wise. If this strikes a chord, drop a 1 in the comments. I'd love to know you're out there. Choosing who gets your time is like tending a garden. Nurture the blooms that thrive and let the rest go with grace. 2. Steering clear of drama that steals my peace. Let me ask you something straight from the heart. Have you ever walked away from a visit feeling like you've been through a storm? Maybe it was a family dinner where old grudges bubbled up, or a coffee with someone who couldn't stop stirring the gossip pot. I've been there, and let me tell you, One of the greatest lessons I've learned is that not every visit is worth the toll it takes on your peace. As I've grown older, I've gotten fierce about guarding my calm, and I've stopped chasing visits that bring more drama than joy. In my younger days, I'd bite my tongue through tense conversations or force a chuckle when someone threw a subtle jab. I thought that's what you did, kept the peace, kept everyone happy. But over time, I noticed how those visits left me rattled. My shoulders would tense, my mind would churn, and I'd spend days untangling the knots. Have you ever felt that? Wait, that's when I started asking, why am I putting myself through this? Is this visit worth my happiness? More often than not, the answer was a quiet no. I think of my cousin Betty, bless her heart. She's a kind soul, but every visit was like stepping into a whirlwind. She'd rehash old family spats, complain about folks I didn't know, and somehow I'd end up feeling like I'd done something wrong. I kept going out of duty, thinking I had to. But one day, I just couldn't do it anymore. I started calling her instead, keeping our chats short and sweet. Suddenly my heart felt lighter, like I'd set down a heavy load. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's survival. Here's the truth, you don't owe anyone your time, especially if it means wading through negativity. As we age, we see how precious every moment is. Why spend it in places that dim your spirit? I've learned to spot the warning signs, a tense tone, a history of arguments, and I steer clear. Last Christmas, I skipped a family gathering that always ended in shouting matches. Instead, I hosted a small supper with my closest kin. We laughed, shared stories, and left with hearts full. That's what I'm chasing now, moments that lift me up, not tear me down. So, let me ask, what's one visit you've been making out of habit that might be stealing your peace? You're allowed to say no. The folks who truly love you won't demand you sacrifice your calm to prove you care. They'll meet you where you're at, with kindness and understanding. If this resonates, drop a 2 in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Guarding your peace is like locking the door against a storm. It keeps your heart safe and your spirit strong. 3. Finding joy in the comfort of my own home. There's something holy about home, don't you think? This old house of mine, with its creaky floors, faded curtains, and the smell of my morning coffee, it's my haven. As I've gotten older, I've realized I don't need to leave these walls to feel alive. Sometimes the sweetest moments are right here, in my worn armchair with my dog snoring at my feet. I've stopped chasing visits across town because I've learned to cherish the joy of my own space. When I was younger, I thought I had to be out and about to stay connected. I'd bundle up, drive through snow or rain, and sit in someone else's living room making small talk. But too often I'd feel out of place. Their chairs were too hard, their house too noisy, or I just didn't feel like myself. Have you ever been somewhere and caught yourself counting the minutes till you could leave? That's when I started wondering, why am I trading the comfort of home for this? My home is where I'm free, where every corner holds a memory, where I can just be. Take my neighbor Tom. He used to razz me for skipping his card games. "You're turning into a hermit," he'd say. But one evening I invited him over instead. We sat on my porch, the crickets singing, a cold lemonade in hand. We talked about life, love, and the years we've seen. It was easy, natural, perfect. I didn't have to navigate his cluttered house or shout over his TV. That night I realized I don't need to leave home to connect. I can bring the connection here. As we age, comfort becomes a treasure. Maybe someone's home is too warm, or their couch hurts your back, or you just don't feel at ease. Why force it? My home is tailored to me. The soft glow of my lamp, the quilt my wife made, the quiet I've earned. Last week, I spent a whole Saturday tending my roses, listening to the radio and sipping tea. It wasn't lonely, it was rich. I felt alive in a way that rushing to a visit never could match. So, here's my question. What's one thing in your home that makes your heart settle? Maybe it's your favorite chair or the view from your window. Lean into that. You don't have to chase joy outside your door. It's already waiting where you are. If you're nodding along, drop a 3 in the comments. I'd love to know. What makes your home special? Choosing to stay in isn't hiding from the world. It's honoring the space you've built, the life you've lived. It's saying, this is mine, and it's enough. Let's keep that peace close, friends. It's worth more than gold. 4. Choosing heartfelt connections over a crowded calendar. Let me ask you something. How many people in your life really see you? Not the folks you chat with out of habit, but the ones who know your heart, who make you feel alive just by being near. As I've grown older, I've realized I don't need a packed social calendar to feel connected. A handful of true friends, folks who spark joy and understand me, that's more than enough. I've stopped chasing visits with everyone and started pouring my heart into the connections that matter most. In my younger days, I thought more was better. More friends, more visits, more events meant I was living right. I'd drive from one, gathering to the next, shaking hands, swapping stories, trying to keep up. But deep down, I felt stretched thin, like butter scraped over too much bread. Have you ever felt that? Like you're giving piece of yourself to folks who don't truly value them? That's when I started rethinking what friendship means. It's not about quantity, it's about quality, the kind that warms you from the inside out. My friend Ruth is a perfect example. We've known each other since we were kids, sneaking apples from her dad's orchard. Life's pulled us in different directions. Her with her grandkids, me with my routines. But when we get together, it's magic. Last month, we sat in her kitchen sipping tea, laughing about the time we got lost on a camping trip. We hadn't seen each other in a year, but it didn't matter. The love was there, steady as ever. That's what I'm chasing now. Connections that don't need constant tending to bloom. Contrast that with folks I used to visit out of obligation. I'd go to their barbecues, nod through their stories, but leave feeling hollow. Those ties faded, and you know what? I don't miss them. Real friends don't need you to show up every week to prove you care. They know your heart, even across miles or months. I've let go of the pressure to keep every acquaintance close, and it's freed me to love the ones who matter fiercely. So, who's that one person you could call right now and pick up right where you left off? Hold them close. You don't need a crowd to feel loved, just a few souls who get you. If this hits home, drop a 4 in the comments. I'd love to hear about your true friends. Choosing quality over quantity isn't cutting people out. It's building a life rich with meaning. It's saying my time is precious and I'm giving it to the ones who make it shine. Let's cherish those bonds, friends. They're the ones that carry us through. 5. Listening to my heart's new priorities as the years roll by, something quiet and powerful happens inside you. The things that used to feel urgent, being at every event, staying in everyone's orbit, start to fade. Instead, you hear your heart whispering about what really matters. For me, that's not rushing to visits just because it's what I've always done. It's savoring quiet mornings with my books, strolling through the park, or just sitting still, reflecting on the life I've lived. I've stopped chasing old habits and started listening to my soul's new priorities. When I was younger, I felt like I had to say yes to everything. An invitation to a neighbor's cookout, I was there. A cousin's birthday, I'd make the drive. I thought that's what kept me connected, seen, valued. But too often, I'd come home wondering why I felt so empty. Have you ever done something just because it's what you've always done, not because it brings you joy? That's when I started asking, what makes me feel alive? What fills my days with purpose? The answers surprised me. For me, it's the simple things now. I've rediscovered painting, something I loved as a boy but set aside for decades. I spend hours in my shed, brushing colors onto canvas, losing track of time. Or I'll walk to the lake near my house, watching the water ripple, thinking about the man I've become. Those moments, they're not lonely. They're rich, full of peace I didn't know I needed. Visits that used to fill my calendar. They can't compare to that. My friend Samuel taught me this lesson. He was the life of every party, always at someone's house, always laughing. But one day he told me he was tired of running, tired of pretending. He started staying home, reading poetry, planting a garden. "I'm not hiding," he said. "I'm finding myself." That stuck. With me, solitude isn't loneliness. It's freedom to choose what lights you up. For Samuel, it was his garden. For me, it's my paints, my walks, my quiet evenings. So let me ask, what's one thing you love that you've been too busy to do? Maybe it's knitting, writing letters, or just sitting with your thoughts. Give yourself permission to chase that. You don't have to fill your days with visits to feel full. This stage of life is for honoring what brings you peace, not chasing what used to. If this speaks to you, drop a 5 in the comments. I'd love to know what makes your heart sing. Listening to your priorities isn't selfish. It's wisdom. It's saying these years are mine and I'm living them my way. Let's embrace that, friends. It's a gift we've earned. 6. Knowing true friends don't need constant visits. Here's a truth that's warmed my old heart. The best friendships don't need you to show up every week to stay strong. When I was younger, I thought love meant constant effort, weekly visits, endless phone calls, always keeping the fire stoked. But as I've aged, I've learned something. Beautiful, true friends, the ones who matter, stay close no matter how long it's been. I've stopped worrying about visiting everyone all the time because real bonds don't fade with distance or time. Think about that friend you haven't seen in ages. But when you talk, it's like no time's passed. That's the kind of love that lasts. My buddy Frank and I used to meet every month for coffee, swapping tales about our kids, our aches, our dreams. Life got busy, his grandkids, my routines. But when we catch up now, it's all laughter and memories. Last year I saw him after nearly 2 years. We sat in his backyard, grilling burgers, and it felt like yesterday. That's what true friendship is, a connection that holds, no matter the gap. In my younger days, I carried guilt about not visiting. Enough. I'd worry that if I didn't keep up, folks would think I didn't care. But then I noticed something. The people who truly love me don't keep score. They don't need me to prove my loyalty with a visit every week. They know I'm here, heart open, ready when it counts. Contrast that with folks I used to see out of habit. I'd drive to their houses, sit through shallow chats, and leave feeling like I'd wasted my time. Those ties, they've faded, and I'm okay with that. My friend Elaine showed me how this works. She used to fret about not seeing her old work. Friends enough. She'd drag herself to their lunches, feeling guilty if she skipped one. But one day, she realized the ones who mattered didn't care if she missed a month or 6. They'd call, check in, and when they met, it was pure joy. She let go of the pressure to visit everyone, and her heart felt free. That's what I'm talking about. Friendship that trusts, that endures, that doesn't demand your presence to prove your love. So who's that friend you could call today and feel right at home with? Cherish them, and if someone makes you feel bad for not visiting enough, maybe they're not the friend you thought. If this rings true, drop a 6 in the comments. I'd love to hear about your true friends. Real love doesn't need a calendar. It lives in the heart, steady and sure. Let's hold tight to those bonds, friends. They're the ones that make life sweet. Final thoughts. So there you have it, friends. 6 reasons why I've stepped back from visiting as much, and why that's not something to feel bad about. Life changes and so do we. Whether it's saving your energy for the ones who matter, dodging drama, loving your home, choosing deep connections, following your heart, or trusting true friendships, these choices are about living with intention. One of the greatest gifts of these years is the freedom to live for you. You don't have to please everyone or show up everywhere. When you choose who and what fills your days, you're not pulling away. You're drawing closer to the life that feels right. The folks who love you, they'll understand. They'll feel your care, whether you're on their doorstep or not. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment with one thing you learned today or how you're choosing to live on your terms. Your stories keep me going, and I read every one. If this touched your heart, give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so we can keep sharing these moments. Thanks for sitting with me today. Here's to living with love and peace. I'll see you in the next one.